welcome with a new video. And today we're gonna be ranking dating ideologies. Yes, I know it should be in this part, but another recording failed. So I pretty much had to otherwise restart it, or I had to put it here. It was way easier that way. Sorry. But let's start. First, we have the blue pill. And the blue pill, it is a pretty, naive idea. Personality, it doesn't really get you, all the girls you want. However, it has this one thing, which is you need to have some personality, because otherwise a girl is going to be very, very bored. And I just think that, you don't want that, because a bored girl is a girl that is gonna step away from you. So yeah, it does a tiny trump card, so that puts it in C tier. Then we have the red pill. And the red pill, it teaches young men a lot of good lessons. There is some sort of gender dynamic. Yes, women, they will most likely date up, and going to the gym, making more money, being more confident, those are great lessons. However, the biggest problem with the red pill is that it teaches a lot of interesting bullshit. There's a lot of theory, there's a lot of concepts like cold showers, journaling, and so on, that just aren't gonna get you women. So that's why it stays at B tier. I can't put it any higher, sorry, for that reason. Then we have the black pill. The black pill has it pretty much says that looks are the most important thing. And because, looks are basically majorly influenced by your genetics, it's a very genetically determined ideology. But because it preaches the lesson of looks and height, it has to be that high. It has to be A tier, because it's pretty much the most important thing for women. Women will mostly base their partner choices on their facial looks. But because of this genetically determined message, and especially the community around it that can be somewhat toxic, I can't put it into S tier. Then we have the geo pill. And the geo pill, it is when you decide to go to another dating market. I will put it above the blue pill. So you decided that the West is cooked, and you go to, I don't know, Thailand or South America to find a girlfriend there. And I believe those guys who say it's easier there. However, merely the risk of losing a kidney and dying in a dumpster, it has me put it somewhat low, because I don't want to risk that for some girl. Sorry. You have the jester pill, so you decide to girls like humor, so you're gonna do all the tricks, you're gonna make jokes, make fun of your boys. And listen, this is a very dumb idea. She will look right through it. She will see your act, and she will actually pretend that she likes it, but deep down she will feel disrespect for you, because you're not upfront with her. Girls generally like that, and you're just putting on a mask. So please don't do this. Then we have the gold digger pill. The gold digger pill, I will keep it in D tier, because listen, you're gonna throw a ton of money at a girl. She's gonna abuse that, because she's gonna demand more and more to keep the relationship going. Also, you're just gonna humiliate yourself. Aside from the financial burden, you will just make a fool out of yourself, but even worse than the jester guy. And you know, the last thing, you will massively poison the well. Because if your money, like, you know, I don't know, you go out of business, or you know, you lose your high end, like high career job, she's gonna leave you, and she's, you know, gonna demand the same shit from other guys. So please don't do this. Then we have the monk pill. And the monk pill, it's actually, you know, pretty decent, because this will, you know, allow you to focus on a lot of other things in life, at least for, you know, the short or midterm. Because when you're like busy with girls, you know, you're dating girls, you're, you know, trying to improve for girls, it can occupy, you know, a big part of your mind, even like in, like, it can become somewhat of a, you know, like luring thought in your head. And I think, you know, it's actually pretty healthy to, you know, focus on yourself for a while, let's just say a few months, even like a year or so. But eventually, you know, you have to somewhat, you know, stop focusing on yourself and maybe like date someone or try to date someone, because it's gonna irritate you. I swear, it's gonna irritate your mind, and you want to date eventually. So don't do this for too long, but for the midterm, absolutely great. And then we got the white pill. And the white pill, it's pretty much, you know, the optimistic brother of the black pill. So you accept the reality that looks are the most important thing, or one of the most important things. But except of like, you know, crumbling under it, you realize that, oh, I have this knowledge. So let's start, you know, improving, and a lot of good things are gonna happen. I think, you know, this is a really healthy mindset to have, because first of all, it is somewhat based in reality. Let's just say you go from a 5 to a 6, you will have way better treatment from girls, you will have more options, so you get a more like realistic view. And second of all, you know, being more optimistic in life, yes, you know, it's not that easy, but it is way healthier for you, and you will actually get way farther than, you know, being whole pessimistic and doomerish and having, you know, unrealistic standards, while, you know, you're a bit more grounded, like you have a more optimistic like view on life. I think that's way healthier. So guys, this was the whole video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Laters.